السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين. مدد يا رسول الله، مدد يا سادة أصحاب الرسول، مدد يا مشايخ الدستور مولانا شاء الله فاز حسن شيخ محمد نادر الحقائق، مدد طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجميع. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دوننا فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم. صدق الله العظيم. Allah Azze ve Celle buyuruyor. Konuştuğu vakit insan düşünerek.
Allah Almighty commands, before you speak, you should first think.
Konuşsun diyor Allah Azze ve Celle.
Allah Almighty says that one should first think before saying a word.
Sevmediğiniz insanlar varsa ya Allah'tan başka putlara tapanlar varsa onlara,
and if there are people who you do not love, or if there are people who invoke gods and deities besides Allah Almighty,
taptıklarına sövmeyin diyor.
do not insult what they love. Do not insult what they invoke, who they invoke.
Çünkü onlar cahildir.
Because they are ignorant.
Onlar da bu defa Allah Azze ve Celle'ye söverler.
Because if you insult what they worship or what they invoke, then you may be the means for them to insult Allah Almighty.
Onun günahı fazladır, büyüktür.
And it is a sin to be the cause to make others insult Allah Almighty, and there is a great sin and a great accountability in having been the cause for others to insult Allah Almighty.
Cahil oldukları için,
they are ignorant, they do not know what they do.
Sen vesile olmuş olursun onların.
And they may then insult Allah Almighty without knowing, and it was then you who was the cause who made them insult Allah Almighty.
Bu davranışlarına bu ileride olabilir, hakikati görürler ama,
because you must always consider that maybe at a later stage they may see and realize and understand the reality and repent, and therefore you should abstain from making them insult Allah Almighty in the first place.
Kalkıp da onlarla mücadele edip iyilik yapacağım derken,
therefore you need to be careful, because you may think that you need to quarrel, you need to fight with them.
Kötülük yapmış olursun.
But while you think that you do something good, you in fact do something bad.
Hem o günah işletmiş olursun.
Because through your behavior, because of you quarreling, fighting with them, you make them commit a sin.
Onun için bu bazı insanlar var, onların hallerine bakmamak lazım.
There are some people where it is better to not look at their states.
Bilirsen o mevzudan uzak.
And if you know about their states and if you know about them, it is better to stay away from these topics.
Ona yaklaşmayın.
Don't get close to those things, to those states.
Onun Allah Azze ve Celle'ye karşı kimseye getirtmeyin.
And don't be the reason why people may oppose Allah Almighty.
Hikmetle davranın.
Act and behave with wisdom.
Hikmetle konuşun.
Speak with wisdom.
Tabii insan olabilir. İslam öğreteceğim veyahut bu İslam'a müdafaa edeceğim derken,
because people, they may of course think that they want to defend Islam or they want to teach people Islam.
Sen daha beter edersin.
But then through your aggressive behavior, you may actually make things become worse.
Çünkü çoğu insan yaşına göre, zamana göre
Because people need time to understand.
Bilmeden Allah'a karşı gelmiş olur.
People need time to understand, and it is based on their conditions they live in until they understand and have the insight to understand the truth. And if you, through your aggressive behavior, may make them cause the sin of opposing Allah Almighty.
Sonra aklı tamam olunca o vakit o yaptıklarından pişman olur.
Because if you give people their time, they will mature and they will realize and ask and repent and ask Allah Almighty for forgiveness.
Allah'tan af diler, mağfiret diler, Allah affeder.
And then when they repent and ask Allah Almighty for forgiveness, Allah Almighty will forgive them.
Allah affedicidir.
Allah Almighty is the one who forgives.
Onun için lüzumsuz şeyler söylemek fayda getirmez.
Therefore, there is no use and no blessing in saying useless things.
Hikmetsiz konuşmak fayda getirmez.
There is no use in speaking without wisdom.
Sen bilmeden konuşmak gene fayda getirmez.
And there is no benefit in speaking without knowledge or without knowing.
Bu insanlar Allah Azze ve Celle onları her taraftan imtihana tutmuş.
Allah Almighty tests people in all kinds of ways.
O imtihanı sen de kaybetme, başkasına da kaybettirme inşallah.
And you must be aware that you are constantly being tested, and therefore you need to be careful not to lose in that test. And you also need to be careful to not make others lose their tests.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Allah hidayet versin hepimize inşallah.
And may Allah Almighty guide us all.
Ve minallah tevfik. El Fatiha.